Healthcare Professionals Association suspend 7-day warning strike. President Tinubu expects more diplomacy with France, China and Denmark to translate to economic mutual benefit for Nigerians. And Inspector General of Police presents strategic policy concepts for effective policing in Nigeria and the West African sub-region. Hello and welcome to the late evening news at 11 on Nta News 24. We're reaching you live from Abuja. I am Comfort Fashim. Joint health sector unions, JOHESU and Assembly of Healthcare Professional Association have decided not to go with the 7-day warning strike embarked upon from the 26th October 2024. The union, in a joint statement, states that the decision followed an expanded NAC meeting that reviewed reports from the conciliation meeting held between the leadership of the unions and representatives of the federal government on Tuesday, 29 October 2024 at the Federal Ministry of Labour and Unemployment. The statement says the suspension of the strike effective from midnight 31st October 2024 is in the spirit of the Memorandum of Understanding MOU signed at the interface with the federal government and in general public interest. Meanwhile, a timeline of 6 weeks is given to the federal government to meet all the obligations contained in the Memorandum of Understanding MOU. And President Bola Tinubu is suggesting that the long-standing cordial relations that Nigeria has maintained with the Republic of France, People's Republic of China and the Kingdom of Denmark over many years should translate into mutual economic benefits for citizens, particularly in key areas of education, health and infrastructure. The president gave an assurance of more economic diplomacy at a ceremony to receive letters of credence from new envoys of the three countries. State House correspondent Musbah Danwahab has a report.
Nigeria-China relations of more than 50 years recently got a new impetus. The recent summit of the Forum of China-Africa Cooperation, FOCAC, offered another platform for President Bola Tinubu and his Chinese counterpart to strengthen the ties and grow the relations. From just comprehensive partnerships, both countries have now stepped up to strategic comprehensive partnership. President Tinubu demonstrated his commitment by appointing a Director General and Global Liaison to coordinate the partnership. Yu Duhai is the new envoy from the People's Republic of China. His role would be significant at the new level. President Tinubu urged the new envoy to work hard with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to translate the agreements signed into reality. He particularly looks forward to the activation of all the agreements signed, especially on trade and economic progress for both countries. The president said Nigeria will continue to leverage and build on the Chinese experience, especially in trade and infrastructure developments. Dunhai pointed out that he has already started programs with some states on improving yields for rice and yam, a mobile medical outreach to the less privileged, and educational exchange programs that will enhance vocational and technical skills in the country.
Already we're doing a lot with them with the Belt and Road Initiative and the Forum for China-Africa Cooperation. You can see the infrastructure that is being built by Chinese companies, funding from China. So it's something that's very important, not just to Nigeria but to Africa because of the African Continental Free Trade Area.
President Tinubu also received Marc Fombostier as the new French ambassador to Nigeria. He told the new envoy that his friendship with President Emmanuel Macron and the diplomatic ties between both countries should be felt by citizens urging support for the ongoing reforms in the country, which seeks to strengthen institutions and improve livelihood of citizens. President Tinubu welcomed the ambassador of Denmark as he acknowledged the country's commitment to the promotion of democratic values and human rights. He expressed Nigeria's willingness to benefit from the Denmark's achievements in energy, education, Medicare, and other areas that directly impact the livelihood of the people.
And broadly speaking, Mr. President has asked them to delve more. He asked the ambassador to do more in terms of strengthening trade and investment and the relationship between Nigeria and Denmark.
The Danish ambassador revealed that his country has developed a strategy to improve relations with Africa, in which Nigeria will play a central role in the implementation, considering its size and influence on the continent. From the State House, Musbal and Wahab, Nta News.
Moving on, the National Economic Council has advised the withdrawal of the tax bills from the National Assembly for wider consultation and understanding. The Council also directed the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation to conduct integrity review of waterways and dams across the country to avert reoccurrence of flooding, which affected 34 states this year. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jabrila has more on these and other issues deliberated at the meeting.
It's the 145th National Economic Council meeting and the 7th in the year 2024, chaired by Vice President Kashim Shettima. First, Council received presentation from the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, acknowledging the performance in major revenue sources, noting sufficient alignment to withdraw the bill from the National Assembly.
So Council therefore recommend the need to withdraw the bill currently before the National Assembly on tax reforms, so that we can have wider consultations and also build consensus around these reforms for the benefit of the entire country, and also to give our people for them to know the vision and where we are moving the country in terms of tax reform.
There was also presentation from the Flood Response and Mitigation Committee, with 34 states affected, 217 local government areas, and more than 1 million persons displaced. Council deliberated and directed the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation to conduct integrity review of waterways and dams.
Council noted that the Green Climate Fund should have an infrastructure resilience fund component as a major part of this fund. And then also it was observed that there are some critical parts of the country that are very massively ravaged by this flooding, particularly southeast, south-south, that are completely omitted in the ongoing programs of construction of dams.
Council also received progress report of improvement in difficulties on the reforms being experienced in the economic sector, with the introduction of many programs aimed at addressing these challenges.
To a cheaper form of fuel. In the last 11 days, or in the last 5 days I should say, 11,000 beneficiaries have received 3.5 billion naira. So that's an ongoing rollout of consumer credit to help people to make things more affordable to the worker. Of course, the student loan scheme has reached over 500,000 students, and it has disbursed over 90 billion naira. and that is to the students for their fees, to the institutions for the students' fees directly, and then to the students for their upkeep. So, and it's interest-free loan. So that, of course, is providing access to higher education to so many who otherwise would not afford it.
Program and presentation on internally displaced persons for the implementation of a World Bank support on investment for affected persons and host communities for a sustainable livelihoods reviewed.
So the objective of the program is to improve access to basic services and economic opportunities for the internally displaced persons and host communities in affected local governments in Nigeria.
The council also announced the state of the federation accounts.
$473,754.57. The natural resources account, 26,105,837,627 naira 67 kobo. Stabilization account, 36,299,452,763 naira 32 kobo. Observations were also made on the positive contributions of tech fund to the growth and development of education in Nigeria. Furthermore, observations were also made on the rationale behind the establishment of NASENI, that is the mandate of NASENI, which is to encourage production of local goods and services, thereby reducing dependency on hydrocarbons in Nigeria.
Council commended the efforts of the federal government on the Students' Loan Scheme and Tertiary Education Trust Fund, calling for a review on the mandate of NASENI. From the State House, Abraham Jibrila, Nta News.
The presiding officers of the National Assembly are set to inaugurate a joint ad hoc committee to investigate alleged economic sabotage in the Nigerian petroleum industry. In a motion adopted at plenary, the Senate leader, Senator Okpeyemi Bamidele, explains that following the setting up of an ad hoc committee to investigate similar matter by the House of Representatives, a decision has now been reached for both chambers to jointly investigate the alleged sabotage. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
They have undermined the investor confidence, distorted market operations, and exacerbated our economic challenges.
Senate had in July this year commenced a solo investigation into alleged economic sabotage in the petroleum industry. Few weeks after, the Green Chamber launched an inquiry on similar matter. Today at Senate's plenary, the Senate leader said the two chambers are now to jointly conduct the investigation.
There is need for the ad hoc committees of the two chambers to work jointly to avoid duplication and clash in the discharge of their assignment.
Senate has passed the bill to establish Federal University of Agriculture and Development, Iragweji, in Osun State.
To encourage the advancement of learning and to hold out to all persons without distinction of race, creed, sex, or political conviction.
Agriculture accounts for about 70% of our employment and 30% of our GDP.
I pray that through this university, Nigeria will be able to produce what it consumes and consume what it produces.
Two establishment bills passed second reading.
The need to upgrade that school to a University of Technology in Asaba is very, very important.
The bill seeks to provide for the establishment of the Chartered Institute of Petroleum and Gas Engineers of Nigeria.
Plenary featured the first reading of 6 bills, among them the Public Health Emergency Bill. Senate has adjourned plenary to Tuesday, 19th November 2024, to enable oversight by standing committees. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
You're watching the late evening news at Nta News24. Still to come after this short break. House of Representatives has passed for second reading a bill seeking mandatory inclusion of portfolios in the nomination list of ministers and commissioners by the president or state governors. National Assembly correspondent Mitaire Ikpe reports that a bill proposing to extend the retirement age of health workers also scaled second reading at Thursday's plenary.
The bill proposing that the president and state governors should attach portfolios when nominating ministers and commissioners received the support of lawmakers and consequent referral to the Committee on Constitution Review.
Before a nomination is being sent to the National Assembly, it must be accompanied with portfolio.
A situation where ministers are presented to you, you don't even know the portfolio and the qualification of the person, you are bound to start asking general questions.
I can still come on.
It was some heated debate before the second reading of the bill seeking extension of the retirement age of health workers.
Extend their service years from 60 to 65 years and 35 to 40 years.
It is proper to retire when you can go home and farm and do some other things.
The people that are living for Japa or whatever you call it, they are young men. People that are beyond the ages of 50, 60, they are ready to stay and sacrifice for this country.
Getting to the age of 60 and you want another age of 5 to be added, even injection syringe the person is going to handle, you see the hand will start shaking.
The eyes have it. To secure our health space, we need to have the experienced doctors in our midst, helping us.
The House resolved to probe erratic e-customs services and attendant revenue losses, among other resolutions.
Mandate the Committee on Custom and Excise to investigate the A, concession of the Nigerian Customs Service modernization project and examine the frequent network disruption currently impacting the e-customs service delivery.
Urge the Federal Minister of Finance, Budget Office of the Federation to increase the capital budget allocation to the Nigeria Corrections Service to 30 billion in 2025 budget estimate.
For the past 6 days, an unprecedented 18-kilometer gridlock between Lambata and Suleja has crippled the flow of traffic on Suleja-Lambata-Bida Highway in Niger State. Direct the Ministry of Works to conduct an emergency assessment of the condition of the road.
4 bills were passed at Thursday's plenary, including the bill seeking establishment of the National Metallurgical Training Institute, ONISHA. The House has adjourned plenary to 12th of November 2024 to enable committees carry out oversight to ministries, departments, and agencies of government. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikpe, NTA News.
The National Assembly Legislative Aid Forum, NASLAV, has described as illegal attempt by some members of its forum to form a parallel leadership addressing the media on recent developments. Chairman of the forum, Emeka Nwela, dismissed reports of his alleged suspension, insisting that NASLAV remains one body.
A meeting purportedly convened by our constitution ab initio is wrong. We have a constitution. That same constitution brought us to power, and we must respect it. Even in our constitution, there is nothing like suspension. We don't have it. We have removal of chairman, and it has process.
As perceived misunderstandings in the forum are being addressed by its various organs. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has appealed to Nigerians to remain faithful with the policies and programs of the Tinubu administration's reforms that are designed and being implemented to lead Nigeria to the desired destination of unlimited prosperity. The minister assured Nigerians that the federal government's communication team will continue to engage the people through town hall meetings across the country. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
In view of the recent reforms, particularly the cabinet reshuffle, the federal government communication team, led by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, at the end of a strategic engagement on critical national issues, roll out its plan to sustain the tempo in propagating activities of the government.
We are streamlining our strategy to inform Nigerians more about what we do. Of course, this is not the first time that this is happening. You know that we hold the periodic ministerial press briefings that we intend to continue with. We also want to continue with the town hall meetings that we have started. Very soon the National Communications team will go to the southeastern part of the country to engage with Nigerians in town hall meetings so that we take to them, to their doorstep, the message of Mr. President and his government, and we also hear from them firsthand what their reaction and their observations are about policies and programs of government so that we bring it back to government. Some of these reform processes ought to have started maybe 2-3 decades ago, but the president has taken them, and like I said, we will deliver. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is determined to deliver on all these promises.
On the recent power outage that affected parts of the country, the minister appealed to Nigerians to be more vigilant and provide useful information to security agencies in the fight against criminality.
By Sunday of this week, we will have power fully restored to all parts affected. And like the president has also told the security agencies to be extra vigilant, and they are going to work around the clock. It is not an acceptable situation. The president will not accept any criminal disrupting power transmission lines in this country.
The meeting had in attendance heads of agencies under the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, Nta News.
The Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetokun, has presented the action plan of strategic policies for policing concepts in the West African sub-region to boost effective policing at all levels. A statement by the force says IGP Egbetokun laid the template for the discussion on the strategies to execute coordinated investigations and operations across regions to tackle patterns of crimes and criminality, as well to equip officers with requisite knowledge in all areas of policing a complex society. The IGP urges leaders and representatives of the regions to ensure that policies decided on at the meeting are leveraged for the purpose of security. An Economic and Financing Crimes Commission, EFCC, says over 260 billion naira stolen funds have been recovered this year, in addition to over $75 billion asset recovery, after securing 3,455 convictions across all categories of financial crimes. EFCC Chairman Ola Olukoyede, while briefing the media in Abuja on strides. The new anti-graft preventive framework says time has come for drastic actions to be taken towards redeeming the country from the vice grip of corruption and its dire consequences. Tokpe Alabi reports.
years, spanning between October 2023 and October 2024. And the chairman, Ola Olukoyede, represented by the Director of Public Affairs, says the commission is currently prosecuting 4 former governors and 3 former ministers for various corruption charges. Other notable strides of the anti-graft agency is monetary asset recoveries in naira to the tune of more than 280 billion naira and recovery of assets in foreign currencies worth $105.4 million, among others.
Also invited the Executive Governor of Enugu State, Dr. Peter Mba. He was here to receive 14 properties that were finally forfeited by court.
From the Special Task Force against Naira abuse and dollarization of the economy, prioritization of fraud prevention to a new Department of Fraud Risk Assessment and Control, journalists want the Commission to continue to work in line with its enforcement and prevention mandates. For Nigeria's foremost anti-graft agency, it is to leverage its robust collaborations to eradicate economic and financial crimes through prevention, enforcement and coordination. From the FEC headquarters in Abuja, Tokwe Alabi, Nta News.
Well, that concludes the late evening news at 11 on Nta News 24. Thanks for watching. I am Comfort Fashion.